Hey guys, welcome, welcome. My name is Sarah Chancey. If you're new here, I'm the founder of Chancey Charm. We're a national wedding planning and design firm, and I also run a really fun wedding planner academy where I'm teaching new planners how to launch and established planners how to market their wedding planning business. So I, speaking of marketing and wedding planning, love, love, love Canva for all the things. Social media, email, blog. We use Canva, Pinterest. We use Canva on Pinterest so much. We use Canva all the time. And so I actually was in an educator group where I saw my friend Brenda post about her course about Canva and how to use it like an expert. And I thought, this is somebody I've got to bring on into the Wedding Planner Academy to speak to you guys about how to use Canva for your wedding planning business. And honestly, it's going to be amazing. I just launched 3 new Canva templates last week, a rack card, a sales guide, and a welcome guide for new clients. I already have a mood board and a design blueprint template. And a lot of times I get people, they're really excited about using these templates because they're so easy, they're so professional looking, but then they easily become overwhelmed by being a new Canva user. So Brenda, I'd love to just hear a little bit about who you are, why you do what you do, how you got into the world of Canva.
Yes. Well, I mean, I've actually run a website development company for 20 years. And while that is still kind of the lion's share of my effort of where we focus our time, I increasingly have started using Canva over the past 7 years. It's got to be about maybe 6 years. And for creating my own graphics, my own marketing documents, and all the things that you're probably using in your business as well. And I just realized early on that I wasn't going to be able to rely on a graphic designer all the time. Now I use a graphic designer for my branding, for my, if we're doing website design, if we're doing, I do still have business cards. Not many people use those anymore, but those kind of core branding items, I always hire a professional graphic designer because Canva is not a replacement for that. But if you're wanting to create social media graphics or sales guides or lead magnets or whatever it is to supplement your business, Canva has just been absolutely mandatory in my business at this point. I can't imagine doing business without it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I have a large team of over 30 planners currently on my team, and I can't imagine, like you said, from a social media and like the blog and online presence standpoint, I can't imagine not functioning without Canva. But then also in terms of like being able to distribute like a sales PDF to my team where they can personalize it, which is what I love about Canva, so quickly in such a mass scale. It's like one click, here's the template and go. It's a game changer.
Yep. Yeah. And it allows you that way to really ensure that anything you're putting out is standardized if you have multiple hands on it. So I think the ability to use it to customize, but to ensure that there's always a consistent branding look to it is really important. And I think we're going to start looking at Canva differently. It's always been thought of as a graphic design sort of tool, but I think it's really increasingly becoming more of a business communication tool as they continue to add more features and they refine a lot of the options. There's a lot more in terms of animation and video options now, and certainly the variety of documents that you can create in it has expanded a lot over the years.
Yeah, I agree. It's been really fun to see it grow. I've been using it for a couple of years now, and I mean, they're really stepping it up. I cannot wait to see kind of what you're going to show us. I know I've sent over my welcome guide template,
Yes.
and you can have that to pull up and kind of, I guess, like as a new Canva user, let's say I've just purchased this template. I'm really excited. Kind of what next?
What next? All right, so I'm going to share my screen here. And I assume you can see that now?
Yes.
Okay. I would say where most people start is they want to know what they can do on the free version versus what they can do with the paid version, because especially if you're a new business, you're probably kind of watching all of the costs that are going out. You're wanting to make sure that if you are going to be investing in something, that it's going to be really, you are going to get the value out of it. I know I feel the same way. It's less about, well, it's not the amount I'm spending per month is a factor in it, but it's more about, what sort of value am I getting from that? So I do want to highlight the difference here. I am a big proponent of upgrading to the Canva Pro account. And the pricing you see here is in Canadian dollars because I'm in Canada. But I believe in the States, it's $10.95 a month if you do it yearly. And I want to say $12.95 a month. So it's not a big expense. It's probably going to be one of the least expensive business expenses that you have every month. And there's a lot that comes out of it. Now, you can use it with free. I usually encourage people to get comfortable with it free on the free plan first, because there's a lot that you can do with it. But typically there are kind of three main things that you can sort of work around to a point, but then it just becomes impossible to get the full value out of Canva if you don't have it. So those things are their brand kit. And we're going to talk about that a little bit, because I am going to kind of show how to use that we'll customize one of your templates. I think that's a good way to do it. So that's really key, and particularly the fonts portion. I have little workarounds for the free version for logos and colors. They're not as streamlined as I would like, but if you're just not ready to upgrade, those can be an option. But I'll show you in a moment of why this is so key about the fonts. There's no workaround. And if you want to have something that looks really consistent with your branding, you're going to have to upgrade. The one-click design resize, that is what had me upgrade to Canva at work when it first came out, because this is a game changer in terms of the time that you're spending in Canva. Because if you are like me and you create kind of a general look and feel for let's say an Instagram image that you want to put out, and now let's say you want to use that same sort of look for a Pinterest pin graphic. If you're on the free account, you're going to have to start from scratch with a new design and copy and paste elements over and resize and basically start over. And then you have to start asking yourself, how much is my time worth? How much time do I want to be spending creating graphics, when with this one-click design resize, you can literally take that design when it's finished and then automatically have it resize into the new dimensions of the pin and pull all the elements over. And it's just such a time saver. That was the single reason that I upgraded in the beginning. And I think that's a big one for a lot of people. Is that one that you use a lot yourself?
I do. I use that a lot. And obviously for us, the fonts, I guess there's people out there who have fonts, their branding fonts are potentially the free font.
Mm-hmm.
For us, we've always had custom fonts. So being able to use those in our graphics is super important to me in terms of streamlining. We just redid our website, and I have just been over the top nitpicky about, like, let's make sure that this new, we have like our script font. Let's make sure we're using that in our pins and on our graphics. So that's been really, for me, I think that was the thing that really sent me into the paid pro account.
Yep.
But the one-click design is fabulous as well.
Yeah. And for me, it's just, I joined in the days before the brand kit even existed. So nowadays that would be the main thing I think that would encourage me to do it. And we'll talk a little bit more about the brand kit in a minute. But the other thing that is really important is actually something that they don't highlight up here as the top features. And I think it should be a top feature. And that is, if you scroll all the way down here. So this is a great page. This is just at canva.com/pricing. And it gives you a really good breakdown of what you get on each version of this. So enterprise is basically, if you have a larger team, if you were running a social media agency, for example, and you needed multiple brand kits to handle multiple brands, that would be something you would want to look at. Gotcha. So, that's worth looking into. But the other one I want to highlight is down here under storage. Sexy storage. It's not so much about the amount of space that you have, although you could conceivably run into that 1 gigabyte maximum if you're really uploading a lot of images. It's the folders. If you are going to use Canva effectively, you're going to need to stay organized. You're going to need to come up with a filing system to organize your designs and your images. And having just 2 folders is not going to cut it.
Yeah.
It's simply not. If
I
you want to be
100%
really,
agree with that. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I have a fairly multi-layered system myself, and everybody's going to have their own approach to how they file, but I can guarantee you, you're going to need more than 2 folders to do it effectively. And then you also, when you create custom folders, you can access them from within a design. And I can show you what I mean by that in a minute when we start customizing something, and you can't do it in the free one. So that is a real time saver. And it's not just a time saver, it's just far more effective, and it allows you to do a better job. So those are the kind of the key things. There's a lot of information on this page, and I would say that those are the main things that you'll probably run into one of those issues, and that's what's going to tip you over into upgrading.
I think a huge perk that you didn't mention, but it's up on the top of the list, is the images, the
Yeah.
stock images. I have a lot of planners and just honestly other creatives that I coach that they are like, they love those images because it's really
Yeah.
hard to find images all the time, especially for social media. So that's another huge perk.
Yep, that's a big perk. It used to be that they had a certain level of images that was included, and then you had to pay for premium images, and that was a big announcement. I can't remember when it was, but it was earlier this year where they rolled all of it into the Pro. So you're not paying anything additional for using premium images. And images are not just photos, it's also icons and all kinds of other little graphical elements that they provide. And myself, I don't use the photos on Canva because I have a set sort of look and feel for the stock imagery that I use. And I use some styled stock, some branded, let me try that again. I use styled stock websites where I do pay for them, and then I just upload my images. But I use a lot of the icons in terms of what Canva provides. And this is really helpful to be able to not have to worry about paying an additional little bit of money for each one of those. So you're right, there's 60 million premium stock images, photos, videos, and graphics. I mean, even if you just need a handful of images, that can be a real time saver as well.
Yeah, I agree.
So what I think I'm going to do is actually, I'm going to jump over to the main Canva dashboard. And this is going to look the same basically for everybody, whether you're on a free account or a paid account. But what's going to happen if you try to access some of these features on a free account is it's basically going to give you a little pop-up notice that says this is a paid option only. And we talked about the brand kit, and this is really important to have because you can access all of this easily from within a design screen as well. So you can see I've got my various versions, a lot of Canva focused stuff and a lot of website focused stuff. So this is my branding, and I've got my color palette here. So the beautiful thing about the brand kit, it's made of these 3 components: your logos, your colors, and your fonts. You can easily upload all of your images here. You'll see that I've got kind of that grid pattern in the background. That means these are all transparent backgrounds, and you definitely want to be uploading a transparent background version of your logo if you want it to look seamless when you're putting it on top of your various images. Otherwise, if you upload it with like a white background, it's just going to look clunky. And I can add additional palettes here. I can add more colors to my color palette here. You really want to ensure you're being really consistent with the colors that you're using. It's tempting to just want to create graphics that just look pretty and to choose whatever colors kind of look nice together. But if you want to have something that consistently looks professional and a consistent brand that is easily identifiable as belonging to your brand, you have to stick to your brand kit. So we talked earlier, Sarah, about the importance of working with a graphic designer, if budget permits, to create your branding kit for you. And that's just in terms of, working with you to create your logo, working with you to create your color palette and your fonts. And then once you've got all of that, or maybe you've created that yourself, but you want to create a set brand kit that you can import into Canva. So then you're going to take those components, upload all your logos, you're going to add your brand colors. And you talked about using your script font consistently, and that's really key. And this is, I think, where a lot of people try to make the free version of Canva work for them, and it just doesn't. because if your brand fonts that you use are not one of the small set of free fonts that Canva includes, you're not going to be able to upload fonts without being on the pro account. If I tried to click on upload a font and I was not on the pro account, it would give me a nice little pop-up here saying it's time to upgrade. So, and the thing is that even if you're not using, even if you are using something like a Google font that is available through Canva, you know what, I'm going to show you exactly what I mean here. Let's create a new design. We'll just do an Instagram post. I want to show you the fonts here because, let's make that bigger. If you look at the fonts here, you will see that there are a bunch of them that don't have a little crown symbol here, but anything with a crown symbol is a font that is not going to be available to you for use unless you're on the pro account. So yeah, they do provide a lot of fonts. You don't necessarily have to upload your font if you can find it on this list, but unless you have the pro account, you're not actually going to be able to use all of these ones that have the crown icon. So that really limits your options. And I think most people end up, if they're on the free account, they end up just choosing something that is sort of similar. And you might be able to get away with that if your brand fonts are just really similar to one of the free fonts, but typically it's just not going to match properly, especially if you're using some sort of script font or something that is really visually distinguishable. So this is where I think it's really important to consider upgrading. And then these three components, the fourth component that would make up your brand kit is your images, which we talked about a little bit, but would you agree? I would say that you probably have a very set sort of look and feel for the images that you use across your marketing. Is that safe to say?
Oh yeah. We actually, you know, like I said, I just redid my website with Davey and Krista, and it was really refreshing after basically a decade to go through and clean everything up.
Mm-hmm.
We're currently trying to clean up the images on our blog posts because we have hundreds. So, you know, just anyways, just getting in there and really like distinguishing, like, here's going to be kind of our main gallery set, and here are going to be the images, and kind of refining like the best of the best of 10 years worth of work, which was pretty overwhelming to do, but it really did help me in terms of when I got on Canva. I actually have an amazing VA who helps me with Canva for blog posts and Pinterest. So she's helping with all of that. And I was able to hand her the folder that was on the website and say, hey, here's what we're going to use in Canva now. And so that was really, really powerful. I felt like, gosh, I'm finally getting my junk together after 10 years. Honestly. So yeah, it's really important to me that, and actually in the past when we used pins or images on pins that weren't aligned with our brand, I literally had a Pinterest expert who was like, this is not a fit for your brand. This is not going to connect to your audience. Vanessa Kynes, I'm sure she, you know, where she's amazing. And I was like, okay, I needed to hear this.
Well, that's
dark images, and we have light.
Exactly. Like, I mean, let's do a perfect example here. I'm just going to pull up a grid real quick. Now, the sizing is going to be a little weird on this, but I want to show you what I mean. So I use Kate Mack stock for a lot of my imagery. I'll just grab one
of them. I need to check that out. That sounds.
Actually, I can share with you. I have a stock photo PDF. There's no opt-in necessary for it. It's just a PDF that's available that I can link to, and it's got a variety of some of my favorite stock sites. It's certainly not all inclusive. There's lots out there, but I would encourage you to look for a brand that really matches the look and feel of your branding. Yeah. So let's say
I love these images. So beautiful. I use SourceCo a lot for mine.
Yeah, that's another great option. So, I mean, I'm just trying to do a side-by-side so you can see you know what? Hold on. I'm going to get rid of this grid. I'm going to just duplicate.
I like the palms. Florida vibe.
All right. So if this is an image that I'm using, and you can see a lot of my images, it's very white, a lot of white and green and neutral accents and things like that. If I now came along and chose an image, and I started using an image like this, it's too dark. If all of my stuff is light and bright and I'm consistently using that, and then I start using an image like this in it, it's jarring because it's just not on brand. So choosing the images that you use, unless you part of your brand imagery is a play of light and dark against each other, and that makes sense for you, and it might, in that case, then, you know, go for it. But for me, it just would not make sense if all of my images are this kind of light sort of feeling. I mean, if you look even at florals that I've got here, it's all the same sort of things. Calendar is.
The pencils are cute.
Pencils are cute. I don't use them quite as much, but there's a few places I use them, but they're all white backgrounds, or very light backgrounds. So that is kind of the fourth component. It's not an official part of the brand kit, but I think when you're creating images on Canva, you have to be mindful of the kinds of images that you're using and be very consistent with that, which is why it's great. I love Canva for all of the features they offer. And for some folks, they can find great images to use in there as well. But I think it's important to find a look and feel that works with your brand and then be consistent with it, because you want people, when you have social media graphics or you know, marketing documents that you're putting out, you want people to be able to take a look at it and instantly recognize it as being part of your brand, and you'll become known for a look and feel. I know now that I've had people say they know it's my stuff before they even see that it's from me, because there is a very consistent look and feel. And I think you can see that if we go to like the all my designs page, there is a look and feel across all of that is very consistent, whether it's text-based or those are templates. So those look a little different, but there's definitely a look and feel. And my branding aesthetic is not going to be everybody's, and that's fine. That's what works for me, but it's important that you find something and then you're consistent with the colors that you're using, with the fonts that you're using, and with the image style that you're using.
The light background is great for adding text.
Yep.
I will say that, because we have a lot of stunning images that have a lot of color and I'm really drawn to them. But then I try to put that text on top and
Well, and that's why it's important as well when you look at your brand kit that you'll see I have white versions of my logo as well, that whether you have it white against dark or a light color against dark, you want to have a knockout version of your logo as well, that it can work on darker backgrounds. Because even if you're not putting it on a darker image on your own branding, you may need to put it, maybe you want a footer that has a contrasting color and you want to be able to put a light version of your logo on there. So thinking about the different versions of your logo that you might need is something to think about as well, because there's usually more than one version. Sometimes you've got just an icon portion. Sometimes you have a stacked version that's tall, and sometimes you have a horizontal version, and you want to give yourself as much flexibility as possible. So
it definitely comes in handy.
Let's talk about your template here, because I think this is a perfect example of why it's so important to create that brand kit. It just makes this process so much easier. I think a lot of folks sometimes, now you'll agree, because you create templates, they can be an enormous time saver. I think a lot of creative professionals have found themselves in a position where they're staring at a blank design screen on Canva, and they're just so frustrated because they just don't even know where to start. And yeah. I often tell people, you don't have to start from scratch. There is no shame in starting with a template. And I actually recommend it because, you've got your zone of genius tasks, and you should be spending as much time as possible working on those and not spending hours and hours in Canva. You need to learn how to use it effectively, and buying a great template as a starting point and just understanding how to customize it can be a really great way to get a professional looking design without having to start from scratch. Mm-hmm. So let's choose, I think I'll just choose this one. I'm not going to do all the pages. We'll just do this one. The first thing I would do in a situation like this, perhaps, is, start changing those fonts, because these are not the fonts that I use. So If you open up, if you're on a Canva Pro account, you'll see that, so this is all the fonts that are being used here, but if you scroll down, you'll see your brand fonts here. So I've got my header, my subheader, and my body copy font right here already. So it's easy at hand. I'm going to change that. And my header fonts are always in my navy blue, which I can grab easily from the brand colors. And then I'm going to just go and start changing these into the font hierarchy that I normally use. And quickly, I mean, this process can take a little bit of time, but usually once you're really comfortable, and if you're not trying to talk at the same time that you're doing it, it goes a little bit faster. So I might do it in the charcoal gray, and it's in railway, and then you'll have to move.
Use free fonts in these so that they would show up correctly.
Yes. And then here I can, you know, let's say if I had my name already, I might actually sign my name and then scan it and upload it into Canva if I wanted to do that alternately.
Oh, see, that's the fancy kind of stuff we all need help with from you.
I'm going to just put it back into this, and, you know, and then of course you can start changing the actual content that is here as well. And if you need more room, you can adjust your text boxes. Let's say we'll make this my soft color there, and I'm going to grab one of these photos just to pull up into the grid, and then I won't bother with that there. And then quickly you can see how fast that can start to look like your branding. Let's say I wanted to, I'm going to change the font there as well. Maybe I wanted to add a logo element in here to brand it. Then you can, so you don't have to stick to just the elements that are in a template. I think sometimes people are afraid to step out of that box a little bit, but you can easily add your own branding elements as well. And you'll notice I've got a logos file here. That's part of the brand kit. All of your logo image files will all be easily available here. The workaround, if you are on a free account, you're not going to have access to logos. You're not going to have access to all of your custom folders. Like I talked about, you'll only have 2 folders and you won't be able to access them from here. You'll have to access all of your images, every single one of your images, from the uploads area. So you can imagine how quickly this could get very overwhelming if you have all your logos here, all your images here. This would become, it's possible, you can do it, but for efficiency, it's really nice to be able to have a dedicated logos folder and to be able to access your custom folders. Let's say I just wanted to add my little icon. I could add that, you know, down here. I'm not going to get too fussy and precious with the details right now, but you can see how quickly you could start to change things. And I mean, that's the beauty of understanding your brand kit. If you just come in here and you don't know what colors you need to stick to and what fonts you should be sticking to, you'll start to feel overwhelmed by the choice.
Yeah, I love that. I love that advice, like getting those fonts set before you start diving in, because that's what I would do with the template as well. And I did have a graphic designer actually design this template. So, you know, I think that there are a lot of templates like that out there on the internet that, you know, save yourself some time and some brain space, get a good template, start working on that. I actually made this welcome guide. We have a welcome guide that one of our planners, Resize, made. It's amazing. It's like 100 pages. It's incredible.
Wow.
I didn't do that for this. I started very basic with this. I just wanted a new planner to be able to come in and feel confident about what they had. But the great thing about Canva that I love is the duplicate button above each page, because, you know, let's say you buy this template and you want to add another page about yourself or about your team, you can hit that duplicate button and start duplicating some of the layouts, but make them your own. And that's one of the things that I really love. And I know I've done that with other templates that people have given me. Megan Martin Creative used to have some Canva templates, and man, I was all about those. Just a couple of years ago, that's how we kind of got started with our sales PDF. And now I have a sales PDF. I emailed her the other day. I was like, this is so crazy. But, you know, it's really fun. And I know that it just alleviated stress for me when I've gotten one before. And so it's fun to see you go in here and start editing. So I haven't seen anyone do that. I'm like, wow, this is looking good.
Yeah, and it very quickly, as if you have those elements, you very quickly can make something really feel like your own, because I think the concern a lot of people have is that if they get a template, it's going to look like every other template out there. And no, it does not necessarily have to be. Once you have customized something fairly close to your own branding, it ends up feeling very personal. So I'm just jumping around with some of the spacing as well. And
It's
you can
kind of
just
mesmerizing watching you do it. I got to be honest. I am a graphic junkie. I wish that I had been a graphic designer in school. I mean, so it's like really mesmerizing.
Oops. Now, little tip right here. What I'm going to show you is, you see if I move that, how it's filling it. You might run into this if you're working with a grid and you want to put a little logo on top. If you want that to not happen, lock the grid, and then it will not happen when you, if you're trying to pull an image on top of another grid that you just want on top of it. So there we go.
That's a great tip. I did not know that. And that happens to me all the time. And I'm like,
it's very frustrating. Yeah. Just if you don't want an element to be, whether it's a grid or a frame, or just you've got multiple layers of something and you don't want it moving, lock the elements first, and then you won't have to worry about it.
Love it. Well, this has just been so much fun. I could talk about this for days.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah.
So,
and you have a program, you have a course that you are offering for people who want to really dive in and learn more and become better at this, which is going to save them so much time and money in the long run.
I do, where I'm actually, it has been an evergreen, but I'm moving to just kind of opening it for limited times. It's going to be closing September 30th. So it is called, you know, I didn't use that logo by accident. It is called Conquer Your Canva. And it's just $297. Maybe I'll just real quick. Actually, you know what? Let me pull that up. And I talked with you about the fact that I had to get a brand new computer all of a sudden, so I don't have all my shortcuts already on here like I normally do, which is frustrating. So here it is now. Okay. So I do have this course. It's just $297. That gives you lifetime access to the lessons in here. And I do update it periodically because, as we all know, Canva loves to change things on a regular basis and add new features and refine new features. You can also get it for just 2 installments. And it does walk you through a lot of components. I talked about the importance of getting organized. So this whole first module is going to walk you through that. Then we're going to go through the brand kit component in a lot of detail, and everything from creating your logo to exporting it properly. I talked about the multiple variations of logos you need. It walks you through all of that. Then I have what I call the fundamentals library, which basically breaks down into all the little bits you'd like to learn how to do, how to create a thin line, how to navigate the design interface, how to use shapes, all of that. And it's broken down into individual little training videos, actual walkthrough videos that are up to date. YouTube's wonderful, but they fall out of date real quick. And then there's the projects library, which will show you how to actually apply all those skills.
I love that, because honestly, YouTube is a hot mess, right? Because people get on there, they post a video, and I love YouTube, have a YouTube. But the problem is with something like this, it's technical, is like you could be like 20 minutes into a video and realize that this is like 2017 version of Canva.
Yeah, and it no longer works.
Well, because it's got lots of views. So yeah, I love this. I think it's so valuable. Really, I mean, such a great investment, because hiring a designer, graphic designer for your everyday needs is very expensive. And then look at what you've created, and I mean, everything looks amazing. So, and you're a very detailed person. I love that about you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And
then, just like
I love detail-oriented people.
So I love it. I'm going to be sharing a link with this video, so that everybody can sign up that's interested. And I definitely highly recommend it, because I've been spending like 3-4 years clicking around on Canva. I wish I had just taken something like this a long time ago. Honestly, even as you're talking, I'm like learning things, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a video function. You know, it's really amazing what you've done, and just really, really super appreciative of your time and walking us through so much. I mean, it's really cool to see how seamlessly it can happen when you're following the, you know, the process that you've laid out.
Well, and it's been honed over a lot of years. And if I can help people save a lot of time, Canva, it's a wonderful tool. You can do so much in it, but because you can do so much in it, it can feel a little bit overwhelming. And if I can help folks just figure out how to use it, maximize it, but not interfere with the business of doing what they do best, which is where you should be spending most of your time, then I'm, it's my mission to change things a little bit.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
super appreciative, really, truly. I mean, I think it's a gift. I love it. I'm really excited about it. Cannot wait to share. And if you're watching this video and you're interested, the link should be below or in the email or wherever I'm going to share this
Somewhere around here.
and just, yeah, thank you again for your time. You're so sweet. And I just wish you the best with your cart close pretty soon. And
Yes.
just encourage everybody to get in while you can.
Yes. Thank you.
Have a great day, friend. Thanks for joining.